Inspiring connection. Restore. Renew. Reconnect. Live. Laugh. In love. Connections. Dream. Getaway experiences. Brave Heart Workshops. Unique Getaways live with Jill Reynolds.
The Connection Show. Restore, renew, and reconnecting community. Sponsored by Brave Heart Workshops live with Jill Reynolds. And joining me today is London Wilson. Welcome to the show, London.
Thank you, Jill. Thank you for having me. And I appreciate you inviting me to your show today.
Well, we are grateful that you came on with us. And I'd love the audience, London, to know just a little bit more about you. So I'm going to read your bio to them. London is the mastermind and creator behind Rising Women Entrepreneurs Community and Entrepreneur Circles of Support. London loves networking and providing value to everyone, and she is a talented and caring connector. She is also a podcaster and an international author. London feels fortunate to be surrounded by these two wonderful communities of amazing leaders and mentors. Her goal in 2021 is to help thousands of people have the time and freedom they desire to thrive. She is passionate about helping people to pursue their dreams and ignite their passion for freedom. London is married with 8 children and 9 grandchildren. She loves spending time with her family, working in her church, reading, and volunteering. Well, what a wonderful lady you are, London, with so many talents and things to offer the world. And I can't even imagine 8 children. That's a story in itself.
Yes, it is. I have 8 children, 9 grandchildren, and 1 on the way.
So, oh, my goodness sakes. And you're only 21, right?
Definitely 21. That's right.
Well, on the Connection Show, London, what I love to do is connect the dots in my guest's life. So I generally like to start going back to when London was just a child and what it was like growing up. And then what led you into having, first off, 8 children, and then secondly, being this entrepreneur and connector?
Well, that's a great question. When I was younger, I wasn't surrounded by a lot of siblings. It was actually only 3 of us. I have 2 other sisters actually 3 other sisters beside myself, but only one of them lived with me. So I was like, as you want to call it, the middle child. So I had a lot of middle child syndrome tactics growing up. I was always into various things, whether I wanted to just be seen by the neighborhood people or hanging out with the kids, jumping rope, hanging. My favorite thing was I loved to do somersaults and hang off the fence. I lived with my aunt for a while, and she had this green, you know how they always say the white picket fence? She had the green picket fence, and I would just flip and love to hang off the fence, and the cars would come by and they would watch me, and people would be like, look at her, or they would honk their horn. So that was the type of child I was. I was loving, free, caring, just loved the neighborhood. I was into a lot of things with church. I was also engaging with school. So I was a roundabout girl. And I always loved to have the freedom to be able to just do what I wanted to do and enjoy life, although I was a child, but still it felt like I was able to do a lot of things because my parents did a lot of traveling. So I went a lot of places. I went everywhere that a child could possibly imagine.
And where did you grow up, London? What area?
So I grew up in Washington, D.C.,
Okay.
but
And
I was raised in Alexandria, Virginia.
and how come your parents traveled a lot? What did they do?
Well, my father, he worked for the airlines.
Oh.
So, yes, so he worked for the airlines, and we were fortunate enough that my father was able to, back in the day, they had passes for the family. So we were fortunate enough to be able to travel a lot. And so
And where's the story around where you ended up living with your aunt and the sisters being in separate places? Where what was that storyline for from?
Well, it was just my father was married twice.
Okay.
So, yeah, so it was just my youngest sister and I, but then my father had children prior to marrying my mom. But
Okay.
we always still were close. All of us were very close, even though there was an age difference. But my sisters and I we're still close. We still get together on weekends, and we watch the football game. That's probably our biggest thing. We love to watch football games and movies and just hang out. So,
And what's your football team? Which football team do y'all like?
of course, I'm Washington Redskins. Oh,
Ah, okay. Well, I'm originally from Chicago, so I'm a Chicago Bears girl.
oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
indeed. So growing up then, did you what was your uh from 18 on? So like from 18 on, what did you do with your life? Did you end up then starting children or what took place in your life then around 18 plus?
So around 18 plus, I was in college. I what I did was after I graduated high school, I actually went into a summer program at Hampton University, which is in Hampton, Virginia. And I finished that summer school program and went to the college in the fall. Unfortunately, I got sick and had to return home.
Hmm.
But once I got better, I was able to return back to college. So what I did was I ended up going to Howard University in DC, but I graduated from Maryland. So Maryland is my alma mater, and that is my always be my alma mater. So that's where I
And
graduated
what
from.
was your education in? What was your major minor?
Business administration, minor business administration, but I also did get a graduate's degree as well as a certificate, and those were actually in contracting.
Okay, so that's where that business savvy came in for you, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So take us then with the kids. The kids come along and eight of them. I can't even imagine. Are any of them twins or triplets?
No,
Oh.
so so my first two boys, I was 26, 27 when I had my first two boys.
Hmm.
And then I had my third one when I was 30, around 32. And then I had my last one around 36. I was 36. But then I got remarried. When I got remarried, my husband had some children. So together we have eight. And I
Oh, it's the Brady Bunch.
the Brady Bunch. Yes. So I have four boys, and he had the girls and the boys. So you
Okay.
know,
So you ended up getting some girls in there to balance stuff, huh?
definitely yes.
That's great. So, what led you into wanting to do podcasting and these amazing women's entrepreneur groups? I mean, when you had the children, then what type of work or career path did you even have time to work outside of the home? I mean, staying at home with four children is a lot. Did you work outside of the home as well?
Yes, it is.
Did you?
So yes, I after I graduated, I did work for the government for a little while. Then I ended up going into corporate America, and I was in corporate America for about 10 years. And during that time, that is when I had my third son, and he wasn't well at the beginning, so it cost me more to have him to stay with someone rather than me staying at home. So I ended up staying at home for a little while with him. and I ended up uh, taking a part-time job, going from full-time to part-time in the corporate world.
Mm.
Well, things were a little tough, and during that time, I wanted to find something that I could do from home. So that's when I started to look into working online. I did work online through various MLM companies, and some was good, some worked out, some didn't work out, but it kept me going because I knew that just like I was so determined to graduate and to make it in corporate America, I knew that I could make it on the online space. And it took me about 10 years before I really started to understand how the online space worked and how to actually start building my business. But now, uh, after being in the MLM industry for that duration of time, I saw the struggle of women like myself and the fact that they did not receive the type of mentoring and coaching that they needed to actually be successful. And so it made me want to just, share my experience and share the knowledge that I've learned as far as how I went from zero to being successful in the online world. And that is the reason why I created the group, because I've always admired the groups and I really didn't understand how they worked until this year. But this group, both groups actually, the Rising Women Entrepreneurs as well as Entrepreneur Circles of Support, both of them have been such amazing communities for me because just as much as I have taught them or shared things with them, I have learned from them and still learn from them. So both of the communities are so amazing and wonderful.
Well, I'm encouraged every time I see your posts, so I really enjoy them. And I just happened upon your group one day, and it's just been such an honor to be a part of your community. What I'd love to help you with, part of me doing my podcast, London, the Connection Show, is again how I shared about connecting dots in your childhood till today. But connecting and networking for me, um, has always been such a blessing. I've created spreadsheets over the years. I'm a spreadsheet junkie. I don't know what I do without Excel. And and when I talk to people sometimes I'll go, "Oh, so and so needed this and I remember so and so can do this," so I connect them together. So I really have always connected people and just helped them that way. And so I'd love to connect and help you. So what areas, with all the love you've given others, I love to give that love back. Can you share with us? I know this is kind of a personal question, but how you make money and how some people can support you to keep growing your business but helping others. What areas within your groups or websites do you do to offer services that are chargeable that people can look you up and help you too with your income?
Well, this year we will be starting a membership within the group, the women's group, Rising
Okay.
Women Entrepreneurs. The reason that we are starting the membership is so that we can actually provide additional assistance to these women. What I My intention on having in this group is more than just value. I want women to be able to share what they do. I want them to be able to have the things that they can't necessarily have in order to make their business successful. So just recently, and you were a part of this, I did a giveaway, Christmas giveaway, as well as a New Year's giveaway. The reason why we did that, and I know a lot of other groups were doing the giveaways as well, but my giveaway was a little bit different because I knew some women within the group that were not as fortunate to have certain tools or certain things that they needed that would help their business. And so we wanted to set up the giveaway in order to help just women to be able to offer things to them that would help them to to help them to make their business a little more successful or help them in certain areas. So this is something that I want to do, not just for Christmas, not just for New Year's, but something that we can offer all year round, where we would be able to educate the women and offer them things, tools, and maybe even offer them a scholarship that will help them, that whether they need help with starting a business or maybe help with just paying a monthly fee for their business or some type. So this is where I am going, or at least where my partner and I are going with this group, is that we want to do more than just giveaways. We want to provide something that these ladies will be able to remember and be able to use to help them move further in their business.
And when will the membership start?
We are working on it now, so it should be starting by February.
Okay. Who is your partner, London, in the entrepreneur group?
In the Rising Women Entrepreneur, Monica McKenna. Her and I have been working together,
Awesome.
and I think right. So she's a very, very wonderful person, very spirited person. Her and I met about maybe 8 months ago now, and Monica actually was my mentor for a little while, and her and I have just grown to be sisters. And so now she is actually partnering with me. So we will be doing some
That's great. I
things.
love Monica. She was just on the show, so she's
So,
amazing.
yes,
Good,
she,
good partner, good spiritual connection for the two of you guys to grow this, and it will be amazing.
yes.
So, at this point, then, is there any other things that you're doing that can earn you money that people should know about besides the membership, or is that your prime goal right now?
Right now, my prime goal is the group right now, the
Okay.
membership, but I will be continuing on with the podcasting and I will be monetizing from that. With the podcasting, I will also be linking the podcast to the women's group. So if anyone want to donate through the podcast to help with the women's group, we will be doing that, offering that as well through the podcast, but it hasn't started yet. So
Okay. Well, that is amazing. So, a couple things I'd like to ask you here is the connection shows three words are restore, renew, and reconnect. And the word restore means to bring back to a previous situation or to reinstate something. What would you like to restore or bring back in 2021 in your life?
in my life, I would like to restore my health.
Mm,
Over the last few years, I've had various surgeries. I know I've mentioned that, I think, in a couple of my lives. And so I would, love to restore my health so that I could be able to move a little bit more than what I used to be able to. But that is what I'm working towards.
And if you're comfortable and if you're not, that's okay. Is there an area of that health that you'd like to share so that those of us who are prayer warriors or send healing energy can help you in that arena? If you'd like to share that, and if not, that's okay too.
Yes, yes. I am a part of a couple of groups that are healers, and so we all do some healing and magic, and we do the meditation. So we do a lot of things, and it has helped me over the last year. It has truly helped me, and I'm continuing on with the meditation as well as healing. So if I would love for anyone to just, if anything, I just ask for prayers, just to
Mm,
keep me in your prayers.
thank you so much. Renew. The word renew, London, means to resume after an interruption. What would you like to renew in 2021 that's been interrupted?
I think peace.
Mm,
Um, you know, there's been a lot of disruption, within the last few years, but more importantly in 2020. And my family has experienced quite a bit of losses over the last year. And so I would love to restore peace, but not just within my family, but within the country. I think a lot of families have been disrupted. And I would just love for for everyone just to experience peace again.
Oh, that's great. I love that. And reconnect. London, the word reconnect means to reestablish a bond of communication or emotions. What would you like to reconnect?
I would love to reconnect with my friends. As you get older, you tend to depart in various ways. And some of them I have reconnected with, but there are others that I would love just to, hang out from time to time. And I know some, with people's uh, schedules, my schedule is tight, and I know that everyone has families, but I would just love to reconnect, have a little reunion, especially with the ladies and gentlemen that I grew up with coming up in elementary school and stuff. So I would love to reconnect with them again.
Mhm.
Yes.
Well, it's funny, right before the lockdowns around the country, my vision for 2020 London had been to find beautiful places throughout the United States and or abroad to do what I would call reconnection
Mhm.
getaways, destination getaways. And this happens to be the subdivision I live in here in Branson, Missouri, where we have three outdoor swimming pools, the two catch and release lakes, the golf course, the sand volleyball, and the lodges and condos and villas that you can rent. And so when things open up again, I'm really hoping I can have people like you that want to do reconnections with people that, they can come to Branson and enjoy the fresh air. The Ozark Mountains are just like breathtaking and beautiful. And the strip here in Branson has amazing shows that are just phenomenal. We're kind of like the Bible Belt of Las Vegas. So we have all the spiritual kind of God Bless America shows, and it's just real family oriented, and it's a wonderful tourist city. So that might be something we can discuss once you get going in the memberships, that we do a retreat workshop slash in Branson once people want to travel again. So I'd love to put something together with your group.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
Yes.
I've always believed that connection and networking was so important. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love to travel myself, but even when I was younger, that was one of the things that I loved to do, was just talk to people, connect to people, because I think the country has lost that. We don't have that connection anymore.
Hmm.
People are always on a speed schedule
Yeah.
that you don't have time to reconnect, and I think that's where a lot of communication, lack of communication, come from, is that we're always on speed dial. And even for me, I have to slow down from time to time and just sit down and relax and just connect with my children and my family, my husband, because I'm always on the speed dial. I'm doing something. So
Yep.
I would love it. I love the picture. I love that. And see, something like that, the peacefulness, that is just me. That's me.
Yeah, and and I'm hoping that people, I had a couple of guys, message me when everybody posts about women's group, when it goes, when are men ever going to get included? And so I do, and it's funny because I thought in 2020, actually, I'll tell you when it started, London, is when Braveheart Workshop started. I started my business in 2017 to just do what I call burden release retreats, where people could come together in a small group of 12 to 14 in a safe
Mhm.
environment for a whole weekend and go as deep and wide as you can, just pulling apart that burden in your life that kind of weighs you down. And then with the best professional therapist, Dr. Laura Wood, helping you to release those burdens. And so I had hired her and started doing these, and I think we've done seven. And on the fifth, after the fifth one, I said to Laura, I said, I'd like to start inviting men. We've always just been doing women, and the reason is sometimes some of the deep work with women happen to be sexual abuse issues, and I always thought, will they feel like they can open up if men are there? And I thought, let's give it a try, and so we did. And people still did their deep work, and actually, because we did it in a a drama therapy setting where you actually invite someone into the circle with you to
Hmm.
act out and play out the part of whatever that burden is. So it really worked well because those who wanted to heal from sexual abuse would actually ask one of the men in the room to play that abuser. And then they could, actually get that rage or that anger out towards that. So it was really powerful stuff. So we started inviting men, and it was like really, really cool. And then when the pandemic hit and I started having a vision to do the connection circles, I called them connection gatherings and I now changed them to circles. We invited men, and we've had a couple of men jump on the connection circles, and they add so much value to the show. And so when we open up again, I'm hoping to do reconnection events that are co-ed, and then if women got to get away together by themselves, we can do that. But I like the co-ed because I think a lot of times we as women, we get so much into our own circles, we forget the value that men bring in to bring together that unity of the group as well.
And that's, you brought up a very good point. That is the reason why I have the two groups, because Rising Women is just the women's group, but the Entrepreneur Circles of Support is a co-ed group.
That's great.
And I did it just for that very reason, because there's not very many of the men groups in the online industry. I mean, they're in the businesses, but you don't see a lot of the groups like you do the women.
Yeah.
And so I created that group just for that reason, so that men could come in, professional men could come in, and they could, share value and network with the women, professional women, in a safe environment. And it's been going very well. Been
Yeah.
going very well.
And I know you mean well. I know you do when you say professional, but it's kind of funny, this one young man that saw that all these groups were doing it, and it saddened my heart because he texted me and said, because I have one of my Facebook pages, we keep using that word entrepreneur and on all of our groups now because I have an entrepreneur connection group. And at some point he said, "Oh, well, I don't qualify for that because I'm just white trash." And I just went, "Oh, you're not white trash." He goes, "Well, I live in a trailer park." And I said, "You're not white trash. You're created by God, and you're welcome to come to my group." And so I just, it just saddens me, like so much division in the world, and there's those people out there who are the blue collar workers and they need connection too. And I feel like in this season of my life to be so much more inclusive and not be so dogmatic to the point of you got to be an entrepreneur, you have to be this in order to be part of this, because there's people out there that just have absolutely no money whatsoever, but they really want to be part of community. And
Right.
my heart is everyone should be included. That's just my heart. And it's hard because again, when you do events like a retreat that costs money, that's the hardest part for me. Is I hate it when people say they want to come but they can't afford it. It just drives me crazy
Yeah.
because I'm the kind of person, if I won the lotto, I tell them they all could come for
Um,
free. Just come. Just
right.
come. I want you here. So anyway, I know I went off on a tangent, but that's just my heart. It's like I want everybody to feel like they're welcome in the world and not to feel like because you don't have money you can't be a part of something. I hate that. Um, anyway,
Well, Jill, I want to add something just real quick. I know you're going to ask me a question, but the group, the Entrepreneur Circle Support Group, even though we have entrepreneurs, I don't just have entrepreneurs from online. I have people, men from outside as well in the group.
good.
So I do have people from the outside of the online space in that particular group. When I just say entrepreneurs, I just want people to feel like they're entrepreneurs. Because even if you are just walking a dog, you have a little business where you're walking a dog, you're an entrepreneur. So I applaud you for the way you're thinking, because I think the same way. And I do agree that we need to get away from that word entrepreneur so that people can feel like they belong a little bit more, that it's not just ousting them. So yeah,
Yeah, and
I
I
do
mean, the
agree.
more inclusive we can be, and I'm not going to go political because I hate politics right now. I just can't stand it. But I just want to say this one thing because of us talking. This little pavilion, like here, like I said, in the
Mhm.
renters and people come. Branson's filled with tourism in the summer months. And
Mhm.
this really shocked me, but I'm going to share it because I think this is important from what we're talking about. And I bring it up because of that young man saying he was white trash and didn't feel like he was welcome. And I said, "No, you're welcome." And this is what happened to me, and it's really profound, and it blew my mind away. Is when everything happened in our country this last couple of months with the Black Lives Matter and stuff. Do you know? And this is my truth. Do you know I was living in this subdivision for 2 years? Went to the pool every single day in the summer, every day, because I'm disabled, like, and I can't walk very well, so I love the water. Do you know until the media was blasting everything Black Lives Matter, I never noticed ever who was in the swimming pool with me. Never. I didn't notice if they were
Right.
young, old, black, white, Asian,
Right.
Indian. I never noticed. But I
Mhm.
never noticed because it didn't matter to me.
Matter exactly.
As soon as all that stuff hit the media, and like I loved that you said we need peace. Do you know every single time I went to the pool, I noticed when black people were in the pool.
Wow.
And I never did before. And I think that I'm saying that
Hmm.
because I think it was a disadvantage because for me, it never mattered. And now all of a sudden I'm looking around going, wow, the pool has a lot of black people in it. And I'm like, so do I have to be more cautious that they're going to think that I'm prejudiced? I mean, like, do I have to act different now?
Right.
And I was
Exactly.
like, wait a minute, there's something seriously wrong with this because
Mhm.
I never noticed before because it didn't matter before. And now all of a sudden I have to be so like extra like antennas out and I hated it. I hated
Mhm.
that feeling, London.
Mhm.
And it's just I don't know. I just for some reason I felt that way. I don't know because I'm staring at the pavilion and we're talking about and you mentioned peace, but
Yes.
anyway, I want my heart in the world to come back to not looking at color or race or anything like that and we can just do life together again. I hate the stress of this. It just
I
makes me
agree.
crazy.
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Color doesn't shouldn't matter at all.
No,
You know?
and I don't know, and I mean, and I lived in Algonquin, Illinois before moving here, and they used to have it was called Dolphin Cove, and it was the local swimming pool where all the kids went. It was water slides and stuff, and the same thing kind of happened to me years ago. Is I used to take my little boy there all the time when he was growing up. He's 38 now and just went and enjoyed ourselves. And then all of a sudden, one day, because there's stuff going on too in our neighborhood, all of a sudden I looked around and said, wow, I didn't, you're going to laugh. I said, I never knew the neighborhood changed this way. Like 10 years ago, the swimming pool was like 80% Caucasian
Mhm.
and about maybe 15% uh, Hispanic and 5% black. It was really weird. 10 years later, it was 10% Caucasian, about 40% Hispanic, and 50% black. And I go, when did the neighborhood change? And it was like, I didn't even know. I didn't even know. I was clueless. And maybe I've had blinders on my whole life, but it was weird. It was like, I didn't know. I didn't, and it's like kind of like that's happening. Like, I didn't know we were all this different until somebody points it out. And I know that that's maybe not healing, maybe to someone that's black that feels like they haven't been seen. But I think everybody doesn't see that same way. And
Right.
putting every human being into that box, thinking every single person in the world needs to wake up and know that this, and I'm like, but I didn't ever feel that way before, and now I'm being forced to think this way. And I don't know, for me, I just like I love you, London, for who you are. Not anything else about you. It doesn't matter to me. It just doesn't matter. And I just wish we could, as a world, could come back to that. But
Yeah.
that's my preaching. I'm preaching, girl. I'm just
Oh,
preaching.
you preach
I'm
on, because
preaching, man. I'm just preaching.
no, but I mean, that's how I feel, and that's what I try to express in my groups. I don't want to see everybody. I don't want people to see each other for their color. I want you to see everyone as an equal person to you, whether you are male, female, black, white, it doesn't matter, Hispanic. Everyone should get the same fairness. They should get the same amount of time. They should get the same respect. And
And
so
I think a lot of it too, London, is the way you're raised. I was raised as a lockheed child with lots and lots of abuse, and and I learned how to grow up and be resilient. And I was one of those kids that the neighbors, the parents and the neighbors said you can't go to their house because they're bad. That's a bad family. And so I just grew up being discounted so much that I think as I became older and became a Christian, I knew I wasn't going to discount others because they might be different or had a different lifestyle. So I think that's why, like for me, my heart feels a little different because I lived in being discounted and pushed aside. And I grew up and then became a single, never married mom. And so again, you're pushed aside because you don't fit the realm. And if you don't fit the realm, you might not fit in. And so that's why when this man said he was white trash, I was like, no, you're not. Nobody is. Anyway, in closing, let's go lighter.
yes,
What
go
is
like that.
one fun fact about London? What's a one fun fact?
Oh, I love to dance. Oh my goodness. I love dancing. I love listening to old music
Uh,
and just dancing. So, just recently I became a part of another group, and these women and men, they're just of different ages, various, and it doesn't matter. We're all race and we're all brothers and sisters, and they play oldies and but goodies songs. So we've just been dancing and having a really great time over these last few days. And it just reminds me of how peaceful we could be together.
Wow. Well, we'll definitely then. I'm on my connection show. I'm sharing story on my next show, but we're gonna definitely have you come on and we're gonna do a dance party. We'll do a
All
dance party.
right. All
And I
right.
and I am a dancer too, but it's a funny fact is I don't know how to dance well at all with a partner, but you see me freestyle girl, and I'm a freestyler. Like if I can just do my own thing, and when I teach water aerobics, I have all the people in the pool have their noodles, and
Uh-huh.
I tell them to take their noodles and get a partner and pretend like they're on Dancing with the Stars. So we do the 60s 70s mix, and we dance in the water.
Oh, that's beautiful. Now
Yeah.
that I will definitely have to come to get to one of your classes, because I really love dancing in the water. I think I've done it a couple times,
Oh,
and
I'm a
I really
dancing queen.
enjoyed it.
Dancing queen. Well, I am going to go here and put on your bio. This is
Okay.
London's bio, in the Facebook groups we spoke to are listed here on her bio. So please, this will be on the YouTube channel and all of my personal pages as well. So grab hold of those links and join London on her groups. And she would love to get to know you. So it has been an honor to get to know you better, and I'm so glad we got to meet in person instead of just messaging on the pages. It's a whole different revenue when, I don't know, not a revenue, but feeling experience when you can meet in person, as close as in person as we can.
Yes, it is. And I thank you again for allowing me to come on here and just tell my story. And I thank you for being a part of my community as well, because you are a joy as well. So
Thank
thank
you
you
so
again.
much. Everyone, thanks so much for joining the Connection Show. You all have a wonderful day. Thanks again, London.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Bye-bye.
joining us on The Connection Show. Let's connect now. We can dream together to renew, restore, and reconnect with wellness in our life and community. To enhance connection, join us in the Zoom Connection Gathering Tribe on Wednesday evenings. The Zoom Connection Gathering Tribe is an easy and practical way for everyone to meet up, gather, and feel welcomed and accepted. To join us, go to braveheartworkshops.com. Then click on the podcast tab and the Zoom Connection Tribe tab. On that page, go to the Facebook page called The Connection Show Gathering Tribe and register to join our Facebook group. We post secure passwords each week in the group so you can log in safely. We meet on Wednesday evenings at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 o'clock Central, 6 o'clock Mountain, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for 1.5 hours with great topics, laughter, and connection. See you on Wednesday evenings. Thanks for joining us and have a great day.